So, today's problem is fungus. I have been battling this fungal infection on this particular orchid for a long time now. And I just keep treating it, and it's not going away. So I thought maybe I should share some of what I've learned about this disease, and how to prevent it and so forth. Now, a brief history here on this particular plant. I received this off of eBay back in probably March. It's mid-November right now. Maybe it was February, whatever. And it came infected. It had these spots on it, and I was like, what are these? I emailed the vendor, and they assured me not to worry about it, to treat it with a little bit of fungicide, and it would be fine and go away. Well, after doing a lot of reading on this, that's not really how this particular fungus works. It's suggested through a lot of the studies I've read through that there's an active spore release period. You can see these light centers in the middle of these sort of hourglass or diamond-shaped spots, and those are where the spores release. And it looks like, from what I'm finding, that it's most commonly spread through the months of August through early October. And I'm sure that this varies depending on your climate and where you live and growth patterns, and there are different things that trigger fungus. So this is when I was most cautious with the orchid and made sure to keep it separated, and a place where the water wouldn't move from plant to plant. I put it in full sun and tried to cook it. It just not going away. Removing old leaves would work, but the whole plant's just infected. It's everywhere on this guy. Now, this fungus, a lot of people think that it's systemic, almost like a virus. That's really not the case here. You can see these lesions, they're raised kind of diamond-shaped spots, and those release the spores. And they move from leaf to leaf, from plant to plant, affecting Vandas and Cattleyas. It's not something that necessarily runs inside the orchid, but sort of lives within the cell walls, the plant cells. Still, it needs to be treated with a systemic fungicide. Thiophenate methyl is what's most commonly recommended, the Cleary's 336 or Thiomel. These are systemic, and you should start treating your orchids in early to mid-May probably. That's about when I start, and then I repeat monthly just to be safe, and I only been doing this because I have this infected orchid. Now, one of the perks of having a regimented spray program is that you're also going to be eliminating risk of fusarium infections. You'll at least limit the impact or possibility of them being a major problem. I have sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. I've kept it isolated. It's also suggested to remove the infected leaves, but as you can see looking at this orchid, pretty much all of the leaves are infected. The new growth, even, there are some new spots showing up at the top that you can see. So ultimately, I'm probably going to end up just getting rid of this orchid, as I don't really have a good place to quarantine it. It's just too risky. I'm not willing to risk my entire collection over this orchid. So, final thought here being, it's important to maintain a regimented spraying routine with fungicides, because the black spottiness, those raised heads, those are the release centers for the fungus when they decide to be active, meaning that you could potentially have the infection and not necessarily know the severity of it until it's too late and they open up and decide to start shooting their spores out. So it is important to go ahead and spray your orchids, keep them ventilated, and do, your due diligence. That's all.